He texts back immediately. It seemed defensive. Well, I need a good woman to hold me down. Now, mind you, we didn't have text conversations the whole week. This man has not really made any initiative to have a conversation with me, no matter what I said. At one point, he came to me at the desk, the hardware department desk, and alluded to he wanted a physical massage or somebody coming to his house, and he alluded to something sexual at another point that was just inappropriate, and all these other things. But he does not want to engage in a real communication, like just conversation with me via phone one day at all during this whole time. By this time, 4 weeks have passed, but between us talking at the store and us texting on the phone, which the whole texting on the phone thing happened in 1 week, and that conversation we had on the phone was in that same week. And so I let him know, like, okay, well, I don't sense that you're really interested or for real about us advancing anything, so let's just keep it professional. That's just going to be fine with me. And so I remember the next day getting onto this call. It was this group call with Tony Gaskins, the relationship coach, and he was allowing women to ask their questions about relationship problems or dating problems. And then I brought up the situation with the guy, like, why won't he get on the phone? And Tony Gaskins, he goes into, from the perspective of a guy who might be playing games, this guy either has a woman already at home, or he is probably watching adult films and not really trying to look for a relationship. He's probably looking for something more along the lines of sex, and which is why he was alluding to me coming to his home or giving him a massage or some kind of way, and to just keep it professional going forward. So I was very relieved to know that the text I had sent the guy the previous day was the right move to make. And I remember all the ladies in the comments, they were just commenting and throwing in their 2 cents. One lady was saying, yeah, you should just block them. And somebody else saying, wow, the delusion is real, or something of that nature, or some people enjoy being in delusion. And I remember feeling embarrassed about it. But I remember later on, after leaving that final text for him, having given that guy a chance the day before to respond back to the text I sent him, and he never responded back. I just went ahead and blocked the number. And so that was the end situation with guy number 3. I do recall being back at the store, seeing him in the store at that particular time, and he would walk up and down the aisles, and it almost seemingly get my attention. He knew I wasn't talking to him anymore, but he wanted to stop off and around the aisles of the hardware department and kind of look back to see if I was noticing him. And though I had noticed him, I was not saying anything to him. I wasn't engaging in conversation with him like before, because of the prior text I sent with him about keeping things professional and whatnot, versus the times when we were laughing, giggling with one another and whatnot. And then he just noticed that obviously there was no interest there from me anymore, so he couldn't engage in that. Now, that week after I sent that text, it seemed like he changed his schedule such that all of my working days could match all his working days. I don't even know how where that happened. It had never happened historically, the time I had been working in that store. But all of the days I was there working were all the days he was there working, 5 days in a row. And I just remember feeling awkward about that, and it was so weird. So it was almost as if he thought something was going to go somewhere, so he changed his schedule to match mine, but it didn't go anywhere, which had to be awkward for him as well, I'm pretty certain. And so time goes on, he's walking up and down the aisles at the store, and eventually he stops walking the aisle that's right in front of the hardware department, and he goes up other aisles instead, which is very unusual also. So from a camera's view, the camera could pick up on the behavior difference over time if you studied his behavior over time on camera. Whereas he was walking in front of the hardware desk before, now he suddenly stopped and he's walking the aisle over from the hardware desk where he cannot be detected by me. And then he goes to the front of the store sometimes to talk to some coworkers. Then he goes back to his department in the back and he talks to his coworkers back there. And he only talks to the people in the hardware department when I'm not there, the days that I'm absent and he's at the store working there, or before or after my shift, rather before my shift, right, because I worked the night shift. And I thought that was very interesting that he was dodging me, as if he felt like I would go and report him for harassment or whatnot, which I wasn't going to do. I knew that was that man's only means of income, and so I was like, I'm not going to do anything to get this man in trouble or anything like that. I just, it wasn't in my heart to do that to him, so I just let it be and I went on about my business. Then I remember there was a coworker I had who was a teenager who I looked at as a little brother. And I would chit chat with him often, and I would be laughing whenever, you know, we had overlapping shifts, maybe about 3 days out the week, and I'd just be laughing. And the guy at some point would walk past the desk periodically, and this teenage boy told me, hey, he looked at me in this kind of evil, mean way. And I thought, why would he look at you like that? You are a kid, and there's nothing between us because you're a kid and I'm an adult, or rather you're a teenager and I'm an adult, so there's nothing there. There's not even an appropriate relationship. But it seemed like he was exhibiting some jealousy about the teenager just even having the access to me to talk to me, like the way he used to get to talk to me. Like, I mean, just having conversation, period, and being able to laugh and joke around. It was nothing inappropriate. It was something that would be appropriate to have, with a coworker who was just a teenager and an adult. So it was nothing inappropriate. And so he seemed to be jealous. So he started giving the teenager an evil eye at different points when he passed by the desk, when he got to a point where he finally started passing through in front of the desk again, which was about a month later. Very unusual behavior. I recall the times when I would be at the desk alone and he would pass through. I had to keep myself busy because it was awkward. I had to tear myself away from any emotions and feelings I had built up for him over time, because I had built up some emotions over that time in July, and I had to break it in August. And I remember having to type in my phone to pretend like I was talking on the phone with somebody else, but I realized I was typing up a book manuscript for a book that I ended up publishing online in 2023. So that kept me busy. But I can't tell you enough how awkward that was for me to have gone through that experience, having thought, okay, this was a good choice for me to make, to entertain dating this guy, talk to this guy. And at one moment I found very funny was when the teenager even talked to me one time and said that you're not supposed to get your liver where you work. Because at one point I talked to the teenager about the situation. He understood why the guy was acting the way he was, even toward him. And yeah, it was awkward. After a while though, I was finally through my feelings of this guy, and it was time to go. In September I moved on back to the speech pathology world as a speech pathologist, and I did not have to work there anymore, and I did not have to entertain any weird antics from this guy anymore. So that was that story. I just can't believe that was just as weird as that was. It wasn't something I expected for someone I actually never dated, but someone I allowed myself to gain feelings for in the short time that we did talk with each other, only to be seemingly manipulated or duped in the end. So lessons learned from these experiences, and I hope you gain something from it. To always vet everyone very carefully. Don't get caught up. Learn from people, and make your decisions accordingly. It will make all the difference for you. Alrighty, so see you next time.